It's March 2nd, 2021, and you know why you're here, so let's kick this off right and introduce the players. Hey, I'm Gerissar, a PvP Padawan.
Hey everyone, and I'm Andallyn, and welcome to the show! Today, for episode 124, we have the one, the only Absterge, whose camera has kind of gone mosaic on us, but I'm sure it'll come back here in just a moment. But he is with us in voice, so...
Where's my camera?
You're there? I think this... So Andallyn's internet has decided to go poopers for the night, but hopefully it'll catch back up and we won't see a mosaic of Mariah Carey and Absterge, but we'll actually get to see him on screen. But in the meantime, if we can hear your sultry voice.
Hello.
Your baritones. Hello.
Hello. My name is Absterge on WoW, aka Carlos or Carl. I don't know why people call me Carl now, but that's a thing for some reason. I am a rank 1 shaman main. Also play every healer for tournaments, and I like koalas. How's it going?
You like what's with the koala thing? I have to ask. Why do you like koalas so much?
They're just cute. I don't know. Everyone likes their animal, right? Like everyone has an animal that they like or something, and
spirit animal.
That is me. Yeah, so I have mine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Makes
say
sense.
Well, I mean, kind of spirit animal. I mean, maybe. I mean, I have really bad insomnia, so I don't sleep as much as them. But they're just cute. That's all it is.
I thought koalas slept so long because they got high off of eucalyptus leaves, and then they like.
Yeah, that's why it's like it's like a drug kind of or something. Like it's like toxic to them or something. I don't remember. So they sleep like 20 hours a day. Pretty nice.
I can think of a worse life than like sleeping in trees and getting high every day, just eating eucalyptus and just
that's good. Some people actually live that life, not even just animals.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I remember seeing a guy underneath the bridge one day. I think he was living that same life.
Actual koalas, yeah. It might not have been eucalyptus, but hey.
It was a cosplay. That's what it was.
That's right.
There's definitely some green leaves involved.
Definitely.
Well, hey,
Resto Druids were last week, man.
Yeah, that's true. So Carlos, what? So normally we talk about what we've been up to the last 2 weeks. So this is our last show. What have you been up to, buddy?
I've recognized that I need to have more fun on the game. What I've done is I've just made more characters. So I made a demon hunter and I made a warrior, and I've been like gearing everything. That's what I've been doing. What I've been doing. We're slowly getting DPS stuff to play and like mess around in twos. It's taking a while though, but we're getting there.
Nice.
We're getting there.
So how'd you come to this realization?
Yeah.
Well, for tournaments, I'm basically stuck playing Paladin all the time, and I think because of that, I've just not been I haven't really been having fun. So I think DPS is a lot more fun to do. So I had this idea that I was gonna like make a demon hunter and like double demon hunter with my girlfriend, and then she made a warrior, and I was like, wait, warrior looks insane. So then I made a warrior, and now I have both. So I'm slowly gearing them, and I think eventually I'll be able to just like crush at like 1100 or something. Maybe have a few drinks and just have a good time. That's the plan.
a little soju juice there, and
Nice.
Yeah, that's the plan. Every Friday, especially, I'll have things to like bounce around on, which is nice.
So when you say you're leveling these, I just have to ask, when you say you're leveling these guys, these tunes of yours, are you just doing it with friends off of your BNet list? Are you going into LFG and trying to be incognito and whatnot? Or like, how you doing
I just get the dungeon spam. Spam, and then I just gear. Like, so I've been doing a lot of RBGs to gear because you get a lot of honor. Yeah. That's what I've been doing. Doing a lot of RBGs.
All right.
So we're getting there.
Nice.
Okay.
It's a process. It takes a very long time, but it's happening. Slowly.
Yeah, the honor grind is real. They didn't make it easy for the casual gearer or the casual PvPer, I guess.
I will say though,
it's rough.
Yeah, it's better grinding for honor than it is grinding Mythic Plus to try and get that trinket or that pair of boots that I need.
Yeah,
you know
the gearing system is better. It just takes so long.
Yeah.
But it's good because you eventually get there. Right. So like BFA was kind of like you don't really get there. It's super RNG, or you have to worry about the vendor. and then you have to worry about your neck and your cloak. Like at this, like with what it is now, you get there eventually. That's what happens.
Yeah,
Just
That's what
how
happens.
much of a grind you put into it.
It's been a long time. It's been a very long time.
I had to ask about the how you're doing it, just because I've been seeing so much stuff about people's concerns with the LFG tool and that, and just wondering if you're using it or if you're not.
I don't try to play arena or anything. Like I will if I want to just mess around or something, but I know how hard it is to play without gear. So I don't want to force myself to play without gear and kind of just have that happen immediately. So
Fair enough. Andallyn, what have you been up to these last couple weeks?
Oh man, dude, we've been working on the outside quite a bit, and I spent most of this morning and afternoon and evening trying to pressure wash the back and troubleshooting pressure washing issues. But now I'm having troubleshooting internet issues, so it's great. But
Do you push some water into the internet pipes? Is that what happened?
I hope not. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
God.
right. But what I did realize, kind of like the opposite of Absterge, is I realized that I was looking for WoW in all the wrong places. And I started out Shadowlands playing a marksmanship hunter. And then soon after I swapped over to playing a shaman, a Resto Shaman. Soon after I swapped over to playing a discipline priest. Soon after I think there was something else there. I can't remember if there was something else there. But what I realized, I'm an H-Pal. I need to just stick on the Holy Paladin. So I have decided I'm Holy Paladin for life.
yeah, I think you've made a lot of wrong decisions. You've talked about all the classes that have gotten nerfed so far. So I think that's rough.
Yeah.
Especially because Pally's your main or something, right? So there you go.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been playing Pally for so long, and I'm just like, why did I try to do something different? So, yeah.
Took you a while, but you're back on the right path for now, so that's good.
Yeah, Paladins will get nerfed now, yeah.
Well, I think because in BFA you'd walked away from the Holy Pally for a while, right? There, Andallyn, and so I think BFA just kind of burned you a bit. So I think you're trying to
towards
find
the
something
end,
different.
yeah. But that was me just like searching for something else to have fun on, you know. But but this in Shadowlands, it was like, hey, I think we're gonna play this comp, so I'm gonna be this player in this comp, you know. And you know, at first we were looking at Thug in pre-patch days, and we were like, oh yes, dude, and we were going off on this whole like, you know, rogue hunter thing, and that just didn't quite pan out exactly how we wanted it to. So it was a little bit of a mess, but I'm much happier that I'm going to be playing a Holy Paladin, and it's like, okay, yes, I'm the Holy Paladin. It's great.
Good.
So
I mean, we talked to Vinny there, and he made it sound to how good it is, and so I mean, you have all the know-how now.
yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
it's a fun class to play. It's always been my kind of style. I like. I would love to be able to go Aventhyr in Ashen Hollow, but I can't set Divine Toll on the shelf, man. It's just too much. So
Well, you might regret that because they're looking at changing Divine Toll there in the upcoming the .05 changes they're talking about.
okay, well, maybe Aventhyr will welcome me. I'll get my Parasail and we'll be chilling.
It's all about the parasail.
That's right.
Well, honestly, I've in typical Gerissar, taking it pretty chill. Went and did. I tried to do the arena skirmish quests, the weekly. I tried to do it, just random queuing skirms. I actually got the other quest for getting so much honor just through skirms before I got my wins. If that gives you any idea what it was like.
Oh my god.
Oh,
It was a little hard on the face up against the wall. But other than that, I wouldn't say I think it was actually a little bit longer. I think I missed talking about this last episode, but there was a period of time where I was cruising around on Twitch stream there, and I popped over to Carlos's stream, and he ended up grabbing me and throwing me into twos for a bit and helped me out there So I want to say thank you to that. I know that wasn't quite the last 2 weeks; it was a little bit longer than that, but I was kind of holding on to that because I knew that I was going to talk to Absterge. So that was pretty fun.
Maybe owned. Takes time. We did.
We did all right.
Nice.
I think it was right up until we ran into Zaryu.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I remember that game. Jesus, remember that?
Yeah, he's a ruthless foe.
It was pretty. And then I think actually, Carly, you went over and somebody had clipped the game because he was also playing with a viewer or whatever, and so you watched that as well. It was
Yeah, remember that?
It was pretty
That
funny.
guy's toxic. That guy's so toxic.
It was all good. I just took it all as like a great brand of sarcasm. It was great. But other than that, yeah, I can't really think of anything else I was really doing. Every time I logged on, it was like those weird hours. My guild wasn't really doing anything yet, and nobody was really on. And then once I got just as people were getting on, I had to get off because IRL stuff. So tis what it is.
Yeah.
But since that's about it, why don't we roll into the Need, Greed, and Pass segment and find out what Andallyn has brought to the table for us to choose from.
This likely won't be a clean fight, so keep your distance, eh?
All right, let's roll into the Need, Greed, Pass. So,
Indeed.
I told Gerissar a little bit of a drop before this. I said this is going to be one of the coolest Need, Greed passes. I feel like this is quality. And so, Sturge, since the last time you were on, I don't know if we had this segment or not, but essentially, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're going to get some options, and you got to pick which one you want to roll need on, which one you want to roll greed on, just for the vendor gold, I guess, and which one you're going to pass on. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, this time, though, I have toyed around with the rules a little bit.
Oh, no.
This time, you've actually got 4 options, and you're going to pass on 2 of them.
What?
And
that's options I pass on 2.
Yep,
okay.
And it's going to be a little insult to injury because what I've realized is we've been talking about healers and the healing specs within World of Warcraft these past couple of episodes, the past 4 episodes, honestly, including this one. So what we're going to talk about today in this Need Greed Pass is what if these classes that didn't have a healing spec already did?
Oh.
Okay. So what I have 4 different healing specializations on classes that already exist in WoW. Are you ready?
I'm listening.
Okay. Number 1, we're going to take the mage, and the mage will now have a healing specialization called the Theurgist. All right. So like an air mage that specializes in healing and empowering their party members, the Theurgist will be able to give their allies increased health and attack speed. The Theurgist is also able to control the aspects of air and wind with astonishing finesse to unleash air and wind spirits that attack the enemy and heal their allies. Okay? So it's kind of like it's a wind and fire mage that heals. Kind of cool, right?
Can I instantly pass on that? Is that possible? I hate mages. I hate them.
Thankfully, you have 3 other options, all right? The second option is going over to the Warlock class, all right? So the Warlocks are going to get a Bone Weaver. So this Bone Weaver is a necromancer-like healer that summons an army of bone minions who can heal or do damage, all right? So this Bone Weaver can control up to 3 pets at any point in time. And with several bone minion varieties they can choose from, such as each individual pet can have like a big heal pet that only casts big heals, or a pet that does healing and damage, or a tank pet that boosts your party's HP. So the Bone Weaver would be able to control the positioning of each pet individually, and you can optimize what kind of loadout or which conglomeration of pets you want to bring to each encounter.
Whoa.
Kind of cool, right? I drew a little inspiration from this one from my good old faithful Dark Age of Camelot that used to be my jam so long ago. So,
I was gonna say, some of that sounded familiar.
yeah. So, yeah,
Right.
shout out to the Bone Dancer in Midgard, right? So the third option is with the Rogue, okay? The Rogues will get a healing spec called the Field Medic. So a Field Medic would be a melee healer that is able to slip in and out of the battlefield with quick strikes that both heal allies and disable your foes. The Field Medic lives and breathes close quarters on the battlefield and has medkits and powerful saves to mitigate large amounts of incoming damage. Kind of a neat option.
Basically what they already have, but they can share this time.
Exactly. Yeah. In a lot of ways. There's a lot of imaginative kind of themes going on here too. So don't feel bound to what I have to say if you're like, hey, I want to need on the Rogue because I feel like it could have this kind of abilities and stuff like that. Go for it. That's awesome.
Okay.
The final choice, which isn't too hard to guess, would be the Hunter, and the Hunter would be getting the Bard specialization. All right. So the Bard has a variety of battle and mending songs that lead the charge and exert large amounts of control over the battlefield that can turn the tide of any fight. The Bard heals in a consistent, ever-going song, and he may swap songs when necessary. Okay? So just as a quick review, we have the Mage Thurigist, which is the Wind and Air Mage, the Bone Weaver from the Warlock, who controls pets and can control their positioning and optimize what kind of loadouts he wants to take with them. The field medic with the Rogue, who's able to slip in and out of the battlefield and mitigate large amounts of damage. And the Bard from the Hunter, which is able to swap songs to empower their allies.
All right.
So Sturge, you felt pretty strong about this one with the Mage. Did you know who you wanted to pass on as well? Your second pass, I guess?
Oh, yeah, this is easy. I already mapped it out.
Okay,
So
let's hear it.
we're going to instantly scrap the Mage and the Rogue. We don't like that. We're sick of that. It's been like 16 years. I don't want to fight them anymore. So we're going to scrap them instantaneously. Don't like that. Pass on both. Then, that was already my idea back in Kata. I had a Hunter friend in Kata, and our idea, we would always joke about if they added a Hunter spec that would heal and just shoot arrows at you for healing. So I'm going to lean on that.
That's
and
cool.
then I'm going to greed the Rogue. I'm going to pass the other two. Oh, no. Greed the Lock. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Then pass the other
The
two.
Bone Weaver, yeah.
But, can I, quadruple pass on Mage? That'd be good.
I
Do
think
not
you just
like
did.
the Mages.
Yes.
Do not like that.
All right.
Quad
all
pass
right.
Mage and quad pass.
Yeah.
We'll only double pass the Rogue. And then
So,
we'll,
master loot the Mage and delete it, right?
Yes.
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 Yeah. Yep.
Hardcore Ninja and I get kicked out of the guild. That's what we're going to do.
There you go. Worth.
That's okay. Huh. I'll be honest. I like the idea of the Wind Mage. I really like the idea of that. It's one of the things why I loved playing Disc Priest, just because healing by damage is just so much fun.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to need on that.
Okay.
And I'm going to greed on the Hunter. I'm imagining this more like having healing pots on syringe arrows, and then like you said, you're shooting people in the buttocks to heal them up or something like that.
Yeah, you're owning them. Healing
Yeah.
arrows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It'll be like healing rain, but it'll be at the same time a volley at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. There
Don't
you
run
go.
away from the arrows; they're healing you. I have to pass on the Rogue because screw rogues, and the Morlock. It sounded really interesting, but it sounds too complex. I have a hard time managing one pet at the as a Warlock. I can't even imagine trying to manage 4+ and do stuff. So
Sure.
So so that's me. So I'd say, like I said, need on the Mage and greed on the Hunter. Screw the others.
Gotcha.
What about you though, Andallyn? What's yours?
I'm gonna need on the Bone Weaver Warlock. I've always loved this. Back in Dark Age of Camelot, if anybody played it, there was a super cool class called the Bone Dancer from the Midgard faction, and it was so cool because you could have like your commander, and then you could have up to like two or three other pets with him, and you could go into a dungeon by yourself and just put your pets on aggressive, and the four of them could just like 2 DPS, a tank, and a healer, all pets, just solo the dungeon for you. You could go make a bowl of popcorn or something in some times. But I think it would be so cool. I like the idea. I feel like the Warlock, this hasn't always been true, but I feel like the Warlock lends itself really well to a archetype of a class that's incredibly high skill floor and an incredibly higher skill ceiling, and there's rewards that you should get from that. So I think the idea of having a healing spec that's like this caster healer that has a large skill floor, it allows you to be able to maybe position a pet or kind of be like the puppeteer behind everything here, and maybe keep this pet or 3 pets positioned around 3 different pillars so you can always stop a drink, or be able to keep a rogue constantly in stealth. There's no escape from him. I feel like there's so many different things that you could do by controlling the positioning of all 3 pets. It would provide you a really cool but incredibly high skill ceiling, skill floor and skill ceiling, frankly, that I think a lot of people would like, myself included. So that's what I'm going to need on. I'm gonna grade on the bard, the hunter. I've always loved that type of class. And you guys are talking about like the arrows for healing. I'm thinking of like Ana in Overwatch, just like
exactly,
just popping you up, and they also do damage if you hit somebody else with those arrows. So I think that's such a cool option. And it almost could kind of be like a combination between like Ana and Lucio, where you have that healing song, and it's opposed to like there's so many different options there. And then I'm gonna pass on the field medic rogue and the third just mage. Really cool ideas. Shout out to me. I'm just kidding. I'm not that conceited. But you gotta pass on something.
Game developer.
So yeah, class design. Let's go.
Yeah. I want to say thank you everybody in chat for playing along as well.
Yeah.
I see the people picking the rogue and the bard. Some people wanting the rogue name, like a smuggler, if you would.
From Star Wars.
Yep. Exactly. And so again, if you're listening at home and you happen to be wanting to play along, send in your message. Send in your
tweet at us.
Tweet us or send in your message to technicallypvp@gmail.com. In the meantime, let's talk about what's upcoming in our WoW PvP events.
Get in there and fight! Stop hiding!
All right, so let's see. Just kind of hashing the boilerplate here. Dalaran Gaming is still hosting his 5v5 1v1 duels. In the Pokemon style, one person goes out at a time, and you kind of work your way through your roster of 5. So keep an eye out for that. You can find him at twitter.com/Dalaran_. Is it a rogue or is that a typo?
A rogue. Yep.
A rogue.
That's
okay.
what it is.
You think we would know? I would know that after so long, but I just don't memorize people's Twitters, I guess.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. And I know Flark, his tournaments are back on a break, but in the meantime, the Diabolus 3v3 Death Bowl is carrying on a monthly basis. So the next one's going to be the 18th and the 19th. So if you're on the EU servers and you want to play along, by all means, I'll have some links in the show notes for the latest Twitter update. I think they may actually have Tournament Realm access for doing these now. So, but it said the esports organization they're putting up, I think it's £2,000 as the prize pool.
Awesome.
So yeah. And speaking of other communities, we still have the Gaslighting Classic 5v5 arcade mode deathmatch, which is EU and Russia. And they're actually started on the 25th of February here, but they're still continuing through the rest of March, doing their circuit of matches. So go over to our friends, ReadyRaider.com, and you can find all the information there.
A huge prize pool, too.
Yeah. 1 million
1
rubles.
million Russian rubles. Yes.
One.
So
I think we said last time that's like the largest community prize pool that's ever been.
Yeah, we could be wrong about that, but like that's also over like a circuit or series of tournaments, correct? Right?
Yeah. It's not just a double elimination, and they're doing a full like round robin series.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, we have the official Blizzard tournaments. So, last cup number 4, coming up just this weekend. I have to ask, Carlos, how are you guys feeling about that? How's the Golden Guardians feeling going into this one? Nervous,
better,
or?
I think. Not really. No, don't really have any nerves or anything anymore for the most part. I think it's all just about just kind of understanding and having an idea of what we're going to play, and I think we're slowly kind of bringing that back. So I don't know. I think we'll do fine. We definitely have the potential to win. We just play well. I think we have the comps now to kind of do well as well. So just have to play good, as people say, get better, as people say.
Just line the convoke, right?
Yeah, just get better. That's what everyone always says when we lose. It's like, just get better, bro. It's like, all right, well, we're trying. Like, we'll try.
I mean, that's all you can really do, right? Is just try. So
yeah,
it's some vicious competition up there.
Oh.
I will note this one's going to be pretty special, and we'll talk about it in the news. But some of the teams had to do some last minute roster changes due to some of the new stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how those do on both. There's one team in EU and one team in A. So then following after the Cup number 4 AWC, we got the MDI Cup number 4, which will be the last one in that series or that season. And then the only thing we have else on the docket is starting on March 5th is season 1 of the AWC circuit. So that's going to be, I think, the top 8 teams from NA and EU running through a round robin circuit to find out who goes to the grand finals for season 1. So it'll be the 4 weeks from the 5th of March to the 18th of April. So
it's gonna be cool. That's gonna be intense.
It is. I find the round robin brings some really interesting composition changes, because now you actually know the teams you're up against. You know what that team likes to play, so now you can find the counter comp to that. Am I wrong on that, Carlos? Or
I think it's better. I think that's the best format of tournaments. Like, especially in a game like WoW, it's kind of hard to have a double elim where you have teams that like obviously will do better in certain brackets and whatnot. So I think I think in general for tournaments, it's just better to have everyone plays each other, and then you can really see like who's going to be the top of the team because of that. Because you fight everyone. It's not like you can go. Let's say you counter one team for the most part. You have one team that's normally easy for you to beat because they just don't have the comps that are good into you, and you just queue into them every bracket, every tournament.
Right.
So stuff like that doesn't really exist. Or the opposite, where you can be like our team, where you get the hardest team ever every time instantly. So it's just better overall.
Yeah.
It's valid. I think I'm really interested to see how a method NA does Kawhi there, because they were so strong through the 4 cups. I'm interested to see what they look like when they get into the round robin. So
yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, well, let's instead of talking about what the cups are going to be like, why don't we actually pick Carlos's brain and find out what makes a Restoration Shaman so strong in PvP?
I'm gonna light you up, sweet cheeks.
Nice.
All right, let's do it.
Awesome. Well, hey, so this is why we're all here, right? It took us a little while to get to the actual meat and potatoes. I appreciate everybody sticking along. Actually, I want to give a quick shout out. Thank you very much, Carlos, for doing a quick host when you switched over from your stream to join us.
Yes.
So
Yeah, of course.
I hope everybody who came with you stuck around and is willing to stuck through all that stuff. Personally, I enjoy doing it, but now let's talk Restoration Shaman, and let's talk quickly right off the get-go. From BFA to Shadowlands, there wasn't like a huge rounding change to all the classes and all the specs. There's just the little changes that they made, plus the grade on pruning. what was the kind of the changes that happened? What was different between the Resto Shaman of BFA and now the Resto Shaman we see in Shadowlands?
Well, there's a few points. So basically, what they did for Shaman was, because of all the traits and the Azerite and all these things, all that being removed. So you don't have the survivability of Ghost Wolf anymore like you used to. So it kind of made Shaman kind of how it used to be, where the number one skill cap thing about the class was always living and like surviving through cleaves. But the Ghost Wolf, Pack Spirit, all that stuff kind of took that away in BFA, and it made that a lot easier to do. So that was one of the things. It took that away, so now you can't just kind of kite around in Ghost Wolf and live in Ghost Wolf with that. So you're a lot squishier than before. Obviously, you're still tanky with like depending with your covenants and all that stuff, but that was one thing they took away. Water Shield and Mana Tide are huge in my opinion, just because there are some matchups where mana is a factor, and because of that, you have a kind of a way to differentiate yourself between other players. So I think that's good to have those two spells back. And then Frost Shock, which is something that I've been begging for 4.5 years now, is back. So that was really exciting. I'm really glad that we got that ability back. Just being able to kind of single target slow people and also do a tiny bit of damage on top of that. So that was pretty much all the changes. They didn't do a lot, but they did something, which was nice. So it's nice to have something, and not just get shafted in the expansion. So
for sure,
that was good.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of like actual abilities that you got back, like Frost Shock, was there anything else?
I think that was it. So you got Earth Shield as a baseline talent.
Right.
You played Earth Shield every time anyways as the actual talent, but you got that as a talent now, which made it so you could play a different talent, which is Echo, so you get double Riptide. So Earth Shield baseline, Frost Shock, Water Shield, Mantide, those are all the things that you got. And at first it seemed like it wouldn't be the best thing. Like obviously other classes like Druids got Maim Stun when they play Feral, or they get like Disorient Roar and stuff like that. So they get a lot of cool abilities, NS. But it's better than nothing. So I'm glad that we got something. Definitely glad we got something.
Yeah. What about in terms of the GCD? Was there anything that was on the GCD before that came off the GCD that whether it was Ascendance or?
I don't believe so. No, I think everything is the same still.
Okay.
Everything is the same. Everything's still on global except for your wind shear and your wall are the only things that are not on global. So
Nice.
for the most part, just got a few abilities, which is nice. Little utility there.
All right. That seems a little bit, compared to some of the other classes got, that seems to be pretty minimal.
That's a way to put it. Yeah, kind of. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't what I thought. Like I would have definitely wanted like NS back, or get Nature Swiftness back. You could get Stormlash Totem was really cool, or like Freedom Totem back in Mop was really cool. Stuff like that, but you take what you can get. So, I mean,
that's true.
For me personally, at least I can spam Water Shield again when I'm bored. That's good. Can do that. So I'll be happy with that.
Are you really ever that bored to just spam Water Shield though? I mean,
all the time. It sounds amazing. It's one of the best sounding spells in WoW. Yeah. And that was always the go-to. When you're jumping around the city, you're always spamming Water Shield. Always.
Right. Oh. I heard that those were the fountains or something in the middle of Dalaran that I was hearing.
Nope. It's me probably. It's probably me.
So
very shielded.
I guess so. I'm going to change. I know how Andallyn, he hates when I go into the whole roll thing that I like to do. But for damage, though, you said you got some damage spells. Are you actually using them? Like, how often are you actually doing damage as a shaman during a match?
You can. I think I think it depends on what you're fighting, of course, and what your objective is.
Okay.
But for the most part, it's definitely good to do. So you have a lot of bursts with your Lava Burst spell. Thank God the name actually fits this time. So unlike BFA where it didn't do much, Now it actually
Lava
does a
squish.
good amount. So yeah, lava tickle or something. We'll call it that. So thankfully
to
now it
Tickle.
does a lot of damage. It does a lot of burst. You have the proc still where you get lava surge, kind of like Ellie does. So you
Yeah.
still have that as Resto. I think they added that in Legion, and there are moments where you have to. So right now, especially in this meta, it's hard to because there's a lot of bursts and a lot of cleave comps that kind of can kill you very quickly.
Yeah.
So it's not the easiest thing to do to just sit there and spam your damage, but it's definitely something that will help out a lot compared to the last expansion. If you ever get a double lava burst on somebody, it's normally about 20 to 25% of their health. So it's a lot of damage in a
Oh wow.
short amount of time, which is nice.
That's the difference between
Feels
having
good.
a kill and not. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely good. Very happy. That's nice. I like being able to do damage personally as a healer compared to just staying back and healing and stuff. So
Andallyn, do you remember what Vindy said? How much a holy pally actually does for? He was saying about 15k, right?
Well, yeah, you'll do a little bit more output just because you've got I guess the best compromise would be like, a lot of holy paladins will run the awakening talent, which allows you sometimes to proc like 5 seconds of wings, which allows you to use Hammer of Wrath. And so that Hammer of Wrath can hit for 6 to 9k per hit. So
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
yeah, and especially
It's
if
a
they're
lot.
Venthyr, right? Putting down the Ashen Hollow. So
I almost died in one of those today. The guy ran in. This guy ran in. He pressed Ashen Hollow, backpedaled away, and then he hit me for 20,000, and I almost died. I was so confused. I didn't know what was going on, and he almost soloed me. He did the top damage in the arena still at the end of the game.
yeah, I've seen that as well a couple times. I watched
Pretty insane.
in MDI they had a holy paladin do 35k sustained DPS in a mythic
remember
18.
that.
Like
That's
what?
crazy.
Not bad.
Crazy.
I like that.
So yeah, it was more than his DPS did. So, but I think the HPAL overall over the course of the fight, because like I can also throw Judgment or aggressively Holy Shock or Crusader Strike them. So over the course of the fight, I think I'll just have more buttons to press than he has Lava Burst procs. But
What do you say? You play both of them as well, there, Carlos. but
yeah,
is it comparable, or is it like holy pally is a little bit higher, or is it?
I mean, I think
Sustained
Shaman does more damage if you can actually sit there and do it, but you can't do that. So Pally overall would do more just because it's all instant cast too. So like if I have multiple flame shocks out and I don't have to heal much, then I can definitely do more. But on Paladin, you have obviously the wings proc, so you can hammer. You have judgment. It's all instant cast. It's not. It's kind of upfront damage too. Like I have to have flame shock on the target, stuff like that. So Paladin for the most part has. I would say they have the most consistent damage
Okay.
for sure.
All right.
yeah, that's
Or consistent burst rather. Consistent burst. Just
Yeah, that makes
judgment
more
hammer,
sense,
and then every other 10 seconds you judgment hammer again. So
Okay. Versus, like you said, with a shaman, you have to have them sauced first, and then you have the proc, and then
yeah, then I have to cast, and it's just different. But
Yeah.
you do a lot. If you actually get it off, it's a lot. So that's pretty fun. Makes it a lot more fun when it does something.
especially when you get that second proc immediately.
Yeah, when
after
you get
throw
like
that.
if you double cast and then you get another proc after, or
Yeah.
like a proc mid cast, it's so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
It makes me feel like I'm doing everything when like I'm only doing like a fifth of everyone's damage, but it makes me feel like I'm doing a lot more. So that's always nice.
but that
The difference
it's going to be
maker.
rewarded like that, to have that rewarding feeling, right?
Yeah, of
That's what
course.
it's about. All right. I gotta ask the support question. Just like CC or other kind of support. What does a shaman bring? Like, so there's always the famous hex, turning people into frogs, so they run around, trying to hide behind totems or hide behind pillars because they can still move. And then you got your totems, right?
Yeah, so you have the hex, you have an interrupt, which is nice. You're the only healer now. So Pally had one back in Mop and Wad, and then Monk had one in Wad, and I believe, or Mop, and then I believe they still had Inward. I don't remember if they removed that yet. But now you're once again the only healer that has an interrupt, and it's another thing. It's another thing that feels very rewarding when you play the class, which is why I like it so much. Because you have a nice toolkit. So you have a purge, you have grounding, which is really strong. You have the fear dispel with tremor, so you can AoE dispel fears. You have hex, so you have a nice CC. You have an interrupt as well. You do good damage, so it's very nice to play the class because of that. So, and I think you do get to use that utility and that's those support spells in a lot of situations, which once again, just back to the whole rewarding factor, is very nice. Landing a hex on someone that maybe it doesn't win the game, but it gets a cooldown, or you get an interrupt that forces a cooldown. So stuff like that is very nice.
Yeah, I can see that because it's just is that one more thing that just extends the CC chain just that little bit more. Yeah,
it's something. It makes it feel like you can always kind of contribute, which is exciting as well. Okay. Just being able to do something. So like when Pika runs in and does his little stun combo, wombo stuff, whatever, I can do something instead of just standing there, which is nice.
Solid. Do Shaman have the same the always be casting mantra? Is that still a thing?
Always be insta casting.
You don't really cast. I mean, kind of. It depends. Sometimes you always want to be pressing globals for the most part.
Yeah.
Casting, not really, because you don't. It's like hard to sit there and chain cast, but for the most part, it's always good to kind of be doing something. Whether it's purging a HOD or trying to slow people, or which I think something a lot of people forget is just being able to root people. Like even playing against melee comps, if you root somebody for let's say that 2 or 3 seconds where they can't have uptime, a lot of those things are really impactful in games. So there's normally something you can do in a lot of situations that whether it's a purge or looking to interrupt someone or hexing a monk on like their Fist of Fury cast or something. There's normally a global for those situations where it's you want to constantly be looking to do those things.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I just know because I think that was like you said before with the whole Ghost Wolf thing. There was a period of time where like you just go Ghost Wolf and you wouldn't have to even touch your keyboard for a while. So
yeah, the Ghost Wolf took that away from the game. Kind of. You'd sit there and you'd play with some very tanky, very durable DPS classes like DK, Demon Hunter, and then it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna Riptide you. I'm gonna purge this guy once, and then I'm just gonna sit in Ghost Wolf, and I'm just gonna stand here. So that kind of took away from the whole always be doing something mantra you said. But I think because the game is a lot faster paced now too, we're getting back to that, which is very nice.
Definitely. All right. Well, let's roll into our analysis of the talents, and so we'll run through the talents, and you can tell us and our listeners there why you pick what you pick, and,
all right,
and why we should avoid some of the pitfalls.
All right.
So I guess I'll go first. So into the first tier, we have Torrent. So that increases the initial heal of your Riptide by 20%. Sounds pretty good. You got Undulation. So every third healing wave or healing surge heals for an additional 50%. You're casting a lot, so that makes a lot of sense. And then Unleash Life, which is a charge with a 15-second recharge, and it unleashes elemental forces of life, healing a friendly target for 190% of your spell power, and increases the effect of your next direct heal by 35%. That actually sounds pretty good too. That
That's right. That's the best one. That's good. That is the best one. So basically, Torrent is good. They buffed Riptide at one point in this expansion, then they nerfed the talent. So it used to be 30, now it's 20. Torrent, I think, I haven't really figured out quite yet when it's better than Unleash. So just right off the bat, Unleash is the best one. It does a lot of healing. It's a very low mana cost on top of that. And then, of course, it also boosts your next heal. So right now, a lot of your healing on Shaman is kind of just Riptide spamming. So it helps that you also have another heal that's super low mana cost that does more healing than Riptide and then also buffs your next one. So that one right off the bat, very good, very, very strong. Just another Global Depress 2 for healing. Undulation was really, really strong in Legion because you cast it a lot. And then I don't know if you guys remember the talents that every healer had. It was like the Vim and Vigor, Defender of the Weak, and then there was a mana one.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in Legion, you cast it a lot, and then you also played Defender majority of the time on Shaman. So you had extremely fast casts, and that's when Undulation was good. Hasn't been too good since then because the class has kind of moved away from having more casted healing. So that one, I think, I don't know if you played in PvE or not, but in Arena you pretty much never play that. And then, like I said, with Tauren, haven't really decided when it would be the best, but I have tried it in some situations. Normally against comps that kind of CC you for a long time, just because, like, let's say you play Mage Rogue and you come out of a CC and you just instantly press a double Riptide, and then you're fine. So comps like that where you can kind of press those two globals,
right,
and not necessarily worry about healing after. I think it's good into. I haven't really figured out specifically when I would drop Unleash for it, but it's definitely not a bad option. So
you're saying right now Unleash actually has a higher initial heal than Riptide?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
I think it might be the same, but it does a lot. So, and it's lower mana cost, which is nice.
Yeah, and the buffed heal is really nice after that too.
Yeah, the buffed heal is good, and then the mana cost is really nice because it's like a third of the mana cost, I believe. Wow. But as far as the healing, I think it's the same. It's either the same or a bit above, or give or take 100, 200 healing. So
yeah,
very strong spell.
Yeah.
What's 100 HP nowadays, right?
Exactly. For the mana cost too, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I can see that. All right.
Nice.
Andallyn.
All right, so the next tier, we have Echo of the Elements. Riptide, Healing Stream Totem, and Lava Burst now have 2 charges. Effects that reset their remaining cooldown will instead grant 1 charge. And we have Deluge. Healing Wave, Healing Surge, and Chain Heal. Heal for an additional 20% on targets affected by your Healing Rain or Riptide. And lastly, Surge of Earth. 10% of your base mana. You can consume up to 3 charges of Earth Shield to heal up to 3 allies near your Earth Shield target for a calculation here of your spell power and your versatility per charge consumed. So break this tier down for us.
This tier, so Echo of the Elements, by far the best talent. So you get 2 Riptides. Right now, Riptide is your strongest heal. Your strongest heal. It's like 40%, 35% of your healing every game. So getting an extra charge of that, of course, is really, really, really powerful for the class. On top of that, like I said, we talked about before. We talked about earlier with the damage. Now you have 2 Lava Bursts, so you can kind of spam that out as well. You can double cast them, chain cast them. Healing Stream as well. This how do I put this? This talent kind of turned into the god talent, the way the conduits and stuff worked out for Shaman. So you have a conduit that increases your next 3 heals by X percentage, depending on the rank of the conduit. And you only get the 3 charges after you press Healing Stream. So not only does this talent, you get the extra Law Burst for more damage, you get the extra Riptide, which is your #1 heal. You also get an extra Healing Stream, which just makes it so you constantly have that buff to your extra heals after you press it. So this talent just kind of turned into, by far the #1 pick that you would have. Deluge, I think, if you ended up casting more, it would be a strong talent. Just because you're getting 20% more on your casts, and it's only cast too, so it's not instant healing. So if Shaman were more of if Shaman was a healer that casted a lot more, I think this would be a better option. but because your healing is so front loaded into Riptide, it doesn't really have much value. Surge of Earth is another one where it looked super cool when it came out, when they first announced the alpha and the beta and all that, and they added this talent. But unfortunately, I think having to consume your charges is brutal. If I do think though that if Echo wasn't a talent, then you might pick that just so as you get a decent amount of burst healing. It's like 3 charges of Earth Shield, so probably I don't know 6 to 7k healing, which is a pretty decent burst healing, pretty decent spell on a short cooldown too because it's 20 seconds. But I think just because Echo is so strong, I don't know if it'll ever get picked. So unfortunately, another cool spell that just didn't really work out to be something that you use, unfortunately. So stick with the Echo.
That
gotta stick to the Echo.
That healing stream totem conduit. I know we're kind of skipping ahead here, but does that stack with your unleashed life?
Yep. So you can healing stream, and then you have your Earth Shield increase as well. So I think Earth Shield would, depending on your conduit rank as well, it's 20% plus whatever the conduit. So you get at least 20% healing from the Earth Shield, and then you get the Unleash, which is 35, and then you get the buff as well from the conduit, the healing stream conduit. So you can definitely get a large amount of like instant healing burst.
Lots of modifiers. Yeah, that's awesome. I always love stacking modifiers like that. That's just, it feels really good.
Everyone loves that. Everyone loves that.
Oh yeah.
You stack it up, you get a big heal or a big damage spell is nice. So like back in Mop, it was really fun because you had a talent that increased your unleash percentage. So I think you had like an 85% increase or something total. So that on top of the fact that you stacked crit too. So if you ever had a huge like unleash healing surge or unleash like greater heal and it crit as well, it was the most amazing feeling. Very nice.
Sweet.
I was thinking about how you're saying like right now like, you're not casting as much, you're not casting quickly. I'm wondering if some of this might switch up later into the seasons when we start getting more stats and we start pushing our haste ratings and stuff like that. Or
if you can get more haste, I think you probably would and make it a lot easier. But it also depends on the classes that are good right now too, because it's really hard to cast when you're fighting like rep paladins and warriors that are kind of running in and just essentially mowing you down, just running in and killing you very fast. So it's hard to get cast off in those situations. But if the game slowed down a bit or you got more haste, I think it definitely would be, you'd see more casted heals coming out.
Okay. Yeah, so it's definitely on the, if we got more haste there, I think that would be a better switch up, that you might start seeing some teeter-tottering onto whether you pick that or that. But understanding right now we're still season 1, so into the next year though, we got the famous Spirit Wolf. So while transformed into Ghost Wolf, you gain 5% increased movement speed and 5% damage reduction every second, stacking up to 4 times. And you got the Earth Grab Totem. So you get to summon this totem to a targeted location for 20 seconds. Pulses every 2 seconds, rooting all enemies within 8 yards for 8 seconds. Enemies that were previously rooted by the totem instead will suffer a 50% movement speed reduction. And that's on a 30-second cooldown. And then you have Static Charge, which is on a 1-minute cooldown and reduces the cooldown of your Capacitor Totem by 5 seconds for each enemy it stuns, up to a maximum reduction of 20 seconds. Which actually sounds kind of fun in RBGs. Like
I think that could be, I think that or the root or just could be a lot of fun RBGs just because you affect more people.
Yeah.
So you can kind of annoy people more, which is nice. That's always nice.
I may have run into an Earth Grab Totem in Silver Shard Mines and being extremely pissed off I couldn't get to the cart.
Yep, always. In RBGs, it's so fun just like seeing a big group of people and you just run up and root 9 people at once. It's like it's always just instant smiles upon my face every time.
Just watching the roots come up out of the ground.
Yeah, it's so nice. It's so nice. It's just a big tree in front of you because of it. It's amazing.
But which one do you choose for arena then?
For this tier, so Spirit Wolf has always had a place since they made it a talent in BFA. It was originally a trait in Legion, like an artifact trait. Then they made it a talent. I think it has its place whenever you're against comps that want to kill you. So let's say you have setup comps like a rogue mage, for example, that wants to kill the shaman. You can always try to get into Ghost Wolf during some of those setups and kind of, have that damage reduction for the stuns. So I think it has its place there if it's one of those comps, or if you're expecting people to kind of run you down, you can play it. Earth Grab, I think overall is the best choice, just because it does give you a lot of utility, whether it's rooting a healer so you can get a hex on them, whether it's rooting a caster that's far away in the fight or something. So let's say everyone's on one pillar, there's a caster that's 40 yards away on the other side of the map. You drop a root on them, and then they're a caster, yes, but if you outrange them, they can't really do much. So it has utility there. You can root DPS. You can just stop drinks. You can do a lot of things with Earth Grab, which I think is why it's so good. Just another spell to add.
Earth Grab keeps people in combat?
It stops their... So basically, if you get slowed by one of the totems, you stand up from your drink. So Earthbind doesn't put you in combat, but Earth Grab initially does. Huh. So you can root rogues out of stealth. You can put people in combat if they're trying to drink. You can root people behind the pillar. If melee cleaves are chasing you, so let's say you're getting tunneled down by a warrior, you can run around the pillar and then you can root them behind the pillar there. So it just holds a lot of value in that.
Yeah.
Where there's a lot of different ways you can use it. So overall, that would be the best one. The static charge one, I wish you could use, because it'd be fun to kind of have your stun on a lower cooldown, but unfortunately, you normally play with classes that already have a stun, and then it's just another matter of Earth Grab is just too good to pass up.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah, true.
It's unfortunate, but it makes sense. Okay.
Yep. It's too good. The roots are too powerful.
Yeah, 30-second cooldown too is it's really nice.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Yeah, next let's go to the next tier. So we have Ancestral Vigor. Targets you heal with Healing Wave, Healing Surge, Chain Heal, or Riptide's Initial Heal gain 10% increased health for 10 seconds. Then we have Earthen Wall Totem. 11% of your base mana summons a totem with a certain amount of health for 15 seconds and an X amount of damage from each attack against allies within 10 yards of the totem is redirected to the totem. Lastly, we have the Ancestral Protection Totem. This summons a totem at the target location for 30 seconds. All allies within 20 yards of the totem gain 10% increased health. If an ally dies, the totem will be consumed to allow them to reincarnate with 20% health and mana. You cannot reincarnate an ally who dies to massive damage.
Yeah, I don't know what that part means. I think that's a raid thing.
Yeah.
I think that's a raid. I think that means if you get one shot by a giant raid mechanic that hits you for 8 million, you can't do that. I think that's what that means.
I think it means if you get hit by a Crusader Big Damn Judge, it actually doesn't work.
Yeah, there you go. That too. That would make sense. I think that they should probably add that to the tooltip too.
Probably.
Will not save you from a paladin.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't use that one right off the bat. That has become a meme. So many people try to get me to play this talent, and it's like, I will never play it. I won't do it. I even made an emote because I always had people like, play Res Totem, bro. Play Res Totem. No Res Totem.
Somebody just dropped that in chat, actually.
Yeah, exactly. No Res Totem. So you don't play that. It's definitely fun to mess around with. Like, you can kind of troll people in twos and stuff just by playing Res Totem, but
yeah.
For the most part, no. You don't play Res Totem, 5-minute cooldown. Ancestral Vigor is something that I think can be used a lot in RBGs just because you can't really get as much value in Earthen, I think.
Yeah.
And then obviously you get more health, so you can use it in those situations. But for the most part, the talent that I don't like that much, I have a love-hate relationship with it. You got to pick the Earthen Wall. It's too good to pass up. Right now, it's not as good as it used to be just because burst damage is really, really high, but you still alleviate a lot of pressure just by dropping the Earthen Wall and absorbing damage. Especially when you queue into classes that do lower numbers when it comes to their damage. So like a Shadow Priest or like an Aflock team or like a Windwalker Monk, let's say, when they have all their clones out and their Tiger. Earthen Wall definitely helps stop some of the damage, but it's just too good to pass up. On a 1 minute cooldown, it just gives you another button to press, to kind of
Big wall.
help you with the healing. So a lot of the talents in this tier are kind of the same. They're just too good to pass up.
Yeah, definitely. Considering how you can pre-Earthen Wall stuff, it just makes it so good. That's
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, I had to rely on that when I was playing Shaman a lot. So.
Yep, it's definitely good to just you can have it before, you can have it to kind of stop them from, because some teams, not as much anymore, but some teams also don't want to commit when the totem is down. So you can kind of delay people from going if you do it early. You can do it like right before as well. And I wouldn't say most of the time, but a lot of the time it does help. So let's say you take, if you're absorbing damage and you're absorbing, let's say 6,000, 7,000 damage from it in a stun, then you're just giving yourself more time to react and more time to kind of recover, which is nice. So it's just a really strong ability, and a 1 minute cooldown just kind of adds another defensive to the toolkit.
So, quick question though: if you had a choice between Pod and Res Totem, which one would you pick?
Oh, I mean the Res Totem, because I can kill the totem. I can actually kill the totem before they die. I hate the Pod. The Pod gives me nightmares. It gives me nightmares. So terrible.
Makes you wonder though if a person dies and turns into a pod while the res totem is up,
Ooh.
and the pod dies, can they still resurrect with the res totem?
I think I think the pod has to die. I think the pod has to die because you're not considered dead until the seed is dead.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I guess you could just. Oh, that would be so broken. You could res totem. They could die, and then you could res totem during the pod, and then
maybe chat was onto something. I don't.
Yeah, maybe. It's
Probably
really
not.
it's really hard to save the pod on Shaman. It's really difficult to save it because you don't have you don't have big burst healing
and sack.
Yeah, you don't have a Bob sack. You don't have radiance from priests because you can like radiance it. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay. Res totem it is. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a new thing. That's a new thing.
That'd be so. That's just a meme. It'll be a meme. I know it. All right. Let's. I can't believe I did that. All right. Next year we got Nature's Guardian, where when your health is below 35%, you instantly heal for 20% of your maximum health. Can't occur more than once every 45 seconds. So nice little internal cooldown there. Graceful Spirit, where reduces the cooldown of Spirit Walker's Grace by 60 seconds and increases your movement speed by 20% while it is active. And Windrush Totem, summons a totem at the target's location for 15 seconds, continually granting all enemies who pass within 10 yards a 60% increased movement speed for 5 seconds. 2 minute cooldown. So that sounds pretty fun, but 2 minute cooldown seems, I think that's a little bit long. That'd be fun for.
It is long.
That'd be fun for RBGs. Throw that down as the flag carrier runs through it, and off they go.
Yep. Right off the bat, Nature's Guardian overall the best thing you can pick because you just don't want to die randomly, so that's good to have. Graceful Spirit is fun to use just because it's like always fun to just move around. It's always fun to move around faster in WoW. Yeah. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're moving faster, it feels so much better to just run around, even if you're just doing nothing and like strafing back and forth. So that talent every now and then has been useful just because you can play your Aura Mastery. I wouldn't say that you play it every time, but if you do play against teams where you think you need the Aura Mastery and you don't think they're going to attack you, you can definitely just play that because it goes from 2 minute cooldown to a 1. Obviously the movement speed is pretty fun as well. But that definitely helps. Wind Rush Totem, it sucks in Arena. I've tried to use it. I use it to troll my teammates a lot because it's funny. They don't like it too much, but it's always fun to play every now and then, even though I know it doesn't help me at all. But it's fun to use, so that's nice. I think in RBGs it has a good place though, just because, like you said, you can kind of move around faster. You can get to bases faster. So it's a PvE talent. I think in RBGs you would probably have a place, whether you're, if you want to run down a flag carrier or something. Arena, if you want to troll your teammates, of course, amazing ability. If you ever want to troll them a lot, you just do it when they're stunned as well, and they really like that. So
that's not nice.
Like that they like it. It's good. Trust me, I do it often.
Would that stack with the monk when they lay down the trail of air when they do their?
I don't know. I would assume no, because then you just run at light speeds. So I don't know. I think so.
Boy, what's this in chat? Sturge Dumpy, ask him about that. I don't know what that is.
That's my shaman's name.
Oh,
I'm an orc female, so yeah.
Okay,
there it is.
There you go. Very thick orc female, so there you go. There's really not much else to it. I don't know. There's not much else to it.
A couple C's on there. Very nice.
Yep.
All right. Let's move on. We have the Flash Flood. When you consume tidal waves, the cast of your next heal is reduced by 20%. We have Downpour, 15% of your base mana on a 5-second cooldown. A burst of water at the target location heals up to 6 injured allies within 12 yards. The cooldown increased by 5 seconds for each target effectively healed. That's not good.
Sounds silly, yeah.
Cloudburst Totem. This summons a totem at your feet on a 30-second cooldown for 15 seconds that collects power from all of your healing spells. When the totem expires or dies, the sword power is released, healing all injured allies within 40 yards for 30% of the healing done while it was active, divided evenly among targets. Casting a spell a second time recalls the totem and releases the healing. That's kind of neat.
So this talent, Cloudburst, was really fun to play. You played it in WoD because you had Healing Stream and Cloudburst both. So it was really fun to play that in WoD because you could rotate them, and then obviously you could kind of it was fun to stack up healing. So what you could do in some situations is, like, if you ever thought a team was going to do a lot of damage, you could sit behind the pillar and put it down, and then, like, press 4 to 5 heals and then have a huge cloudburst whenever it explodes. The issue with this totem now is that you replace Stream. So Stream does a lot of healing, and then obviously you kind of get the upfront healing for it with the conduit. You still get the conduit healing, I think, with cloudburst, but the issue is you don't have a lot of healing on Shaman in general, so it's hard to stack up the cloudburst and kind of make it useful. So I don't know when I think you play this in PvE a lot. Downpour, I don't know if you play that in PvE at all. In Arena, you probably will never play it, which sucks because they basically took your Gift of the Queen, which was your artifact spell in Legion, and they turned it into Downpour in BFA. But unfortunately, you just haven't been able to play it because it doesn't do enough healing to warrant playing it. And then also with your other talent, it gave you increased healing and it doubled in Legion. So it's just not as good. It's unfortunate because it has a really cool sound too, to be honest. But you just can't play it. So Flash Flood kind of just becomes your default choice. You don't cast a lot on Shaman, but having the extra 20% whenever you do, which when you fight like a melee cleave and you double healing surge somebody, having that extra 20% on the cast is pretty useful. So the actual cool talents in this tier just aren't chosen, which sucks.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I would love to use Downpour. It sounds really cool.
So when are you going to have your sub alert be the water shield sound?
I don't know. I've never thought about that.
Yeah,
I could.
I feel like that would make a lot of sense, and it would be really, really like gratifying. It'd be like, oh yeah,
I need to have that for something. I don't know what. Maybe like a host sound or
Follow,
something.
so you hear it all the time.
Yeah, because I have my teammates right now, so I've got my teammates for all my sounds.
Yeah.
So if I had, maybe water shield for like raids or like hosts or something would be nice.
There you go.
Because it is a sick sound, honestly. Really nice.
Well, and getting a host is also gratifying as well, right?
So there you go. Yeah, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Double.
All right, speaking of win-win, let's get through the last tier here. So we got High Tide. Every 0 mana, every mana you spend brings a High Tide, making your next 2 chain heals heal for an additional 10% and not reduced with each jump. Okay, that's cool. So the chain heals for more, and it doesn't decrease as it goes around.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Wellspring is a 20-second cooldown, and it is a spell that creates a surge of water that flows forward, healing friendly targets in a wide arc in front of you for 190% of your spell power, which is the same as what your Unleash does. So, okay. And then Ascendance. This is the one, I think this is the go-to guaranteed, right? This is the 3-minute cooldown. You turn into a water ascendant, duplicating all healing you deal for 15 seconds and immediately heal for 876% of your spell power. Ascendant healing is distributed evenly among allies within 20 yards. Like that's your go-to though. That sounds just OP.
Yep, that's another one. It's too good to pass up. So Ascendance is too good. They added in BFA, I believe it was, they added an instant heals to it. So it never used to have that. It used to be off global, and then it would just obviously duplicate your healing.
Mm-hmm.
But then they added a instant heal to it, I believe, when they put everything on global again in Legion or BFA, whenever they did that. So it might have been the beginning or maybe the middle of BFA that they added an instant heal to it, and the healing is really good. So you can use it. It's kind of become your oh crap button in Arena. So you have Ascendance and Link on Shaman, where it's like, oh shit, you're dying. You press your Link. Oh shit, you're dying. You press your Ascendance because it just does a lot of healing. And then obviously the duplicate healing is really nice. But the nice thing about Ascendance is if you're ever targeted alone, and you're the one dying, you're the only target dying on the team, what you can do is you can run behind the pillar, and if you're line of sight of them, it doesn't do the initial heal. So the initial heal spreads to everyone who's in line of sight of you. The distributed healing, however, does not. So that does it to everyone. So all the distributed healing heals every single person within your 20-yard range. The initial heal only does that if they're within 20 yards and they're also in line of sight. So what you can do, which is really nice, is if you're ever low health, you can kind of line of sight your team and then press it, and you'll give yourself the full amount of the heal. So
that's a huge heal.
Yeah, so it's just the god talent again. It's a lot of the talents are all the same. It's like, all right, well, you look at this or you look at Wellspring. Wellspring sucks. It looks pretty cool, but it doesn't do anything. So
yeah,
Wellspring does look cool too. It's like a huge wave. So if you're like a Dragon Ball Z like a nerd or something, and you like seeing like animations of just waves and stuff, or like the Kamehameha crap, it looks sick, but it does no healing and it costs a lot of mana.
The first thing I think of is the water elementals we always play against in like some of the raids in that, where they have that water wave that goes out.
Yeah, it's nice. It's it doesn't look quite like that, but it's like a small ripple that just goes off in an arc. So it looks pretty cool. It's got a decent sound, but the mana cost and then the cooldown and the amount of healing it does, just compared to Ascendance, it's just not worth it. High Tide is the same. I think a lot of the rows are, like I've said, multiple times. It's just you look at all the talents and it's like, all right, well, every time I spend 20,000 mana, I get more chain heal, or I can turn into a giant like ascendant thing and have a lot of healing.
And top my team, yeah.
Yeah, you're probably gonna pick that one. So that's kind of what it is too. It's just too good. The instant healing, it's just an extra cooldown. It looks super sick as well when you have it. So
yeah, I've been burned by that 20-yard range before though.
Oh yeah, sometimes you misjudge it. Believe me, man. I've done it a lot. It's like I'll save you. I'll save you. You press a sentence, it does literally nothing.
What?
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. Yeah. It's happened often where you kind of misjudge the range.
Yeah.
So,
unfortunate.
All right. Well, what about PvP talents? You have quite the range here. We got Ancestral Gift, Cleansing Waters, Counter-Strike Totem. I always hated that thing. Electrocute, your Grounding Totem. Hated that thing. Sky Fury Totem. Yeah, okay. Spectral Recovery, Spirit Link, Swelling Waves, Tidebringer, and Voodoo Mastery. So,
all right.
What do these do, and why would you pick them?
So, right off the bat, same thing with Need Greed Pass. We're gonna eliminate talents immediately for Arena.
All right.
So we're gonna immediately eliminate Cleansing Waters. Take that out. Sphere Link. Take that out. Electrocute. I wish we didn't have to, but we gotta take it out. It's actually so fun to press. It used to do a lot of damage in Legion as well, and it's sick because it has a cool lightning debuff icon as well. So that looks cool, but unfortunately it just doesn't do enough damage. So we're gonna take that one out. Voodoo Mastery we keep. Swelling we keep. Counter-Strike I love it. I love Counter-Strike. When they first released this talent, I was so happy because you could put it behind pillars and people would just die instantly. Yep. And they wouldn't know what happened either. It was amazing. So that one was amazing.
That
for Battlegrounds. Yeah, that one was too fun. And then they've nerfed it several times, so we gotta scrap that one. Sky Fury we keep, Tidebringer we keep, Grounding we keep, and then Ancestral Gift we keep. So Spectral Recovery we keep as well. So unfortunately for Shaman, half of your talents you just completely scrap when you're playing Arena. You just scrap all of them. It sucks.
Trust me, we've been doing this for a few years. You're not the only. That's not the only class.
It's not the only class. I feel like a lot of classes are like that with honor talents. It's like, I can get. Let's see, what is this? I can get Ultimate Sack, or I can get. What is the one for Paladin? It's like, every time I freedom someone, everyone in the 10 yards gets it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, not picking that one.
Word of something.
You have other ones.
Yeah.
You have what is the other one you have in Pally? It's like, I can pick an Aura Mastery cast every 30 seconds, or I can pick that whenever I press Consecrate, I can't be slowed. Yeah. And it's only me, no one else on the team. It's just,
it's for allies.
It's just...
Actually, I tried playing it. I was doing some testing, and I was going to say, I was like, I wonder if this will get me out of a root beam. The Boomy just died, though, so he wasn't allowing me to test it, but I still have to test it.
At least you tried. You tried. Yeah. So that's kind of how talents are for everyone. So right off the bat, Tidebringer. I think Tidebringer has its place in some matchups, but for the most part, I would say overall you don't play it as much as you did in BFA because they did nerf Chain Heal as well. But basically all it does is it just makes Chain Heal a huge range with the jump distance, and then also reduces the cast speed. So you have a very fast Chain Heal cast compared to the 2.5 seconds. It's like 1.2 or something. More if you have haste, of course, and then the Flash Flood buff. So you used to play it a lot. As of right now, I don't think you play it too often. There's times where I play it in the cleaves, but for the most part, I don't play it too often. Spectral Recovery I think is good specifically in 2s because you get attacked a lot more and you can kite more. You have a little extra healing from it as well as the movement speed increase. So that's good as well. Grounding Totem for the most part, unless you're fighting, of course, whatever doesn't have any spell at all. And I think the only comp in the game that doesn't have any spell at all is
Warrior?
TSG.
Mistweaver Warrior in 2s. That combination of classes in 2s doesn't have any spells, so that one you won't use grounding against, but everything else in the game it's always good. So whether you want to ground and press, you want to ground and kind of avoid a DK kick, or you want to avoid a death grip, or you can avoid imprison as well. If a DH specs into the empowered imprisonment, you can ground that spell as well. So put down the totem, you ground 3 spells and redirects it to the totem. So that one is really powerful. You kind of don't ever swap out of that. Sky Fury has taken a place as well you get 20% increased crit damage and healing. So that's kind of been a go-to talent now, because obviously crit as well is stronger in PvP now. So we went from the 150% in WoD and Legion and BFA back up to 175, which is nice. So that talent kind of helps, just give more burst pretty much for when people crit, whether it's a Star Surge, and, Boomkins love their Star Surges. You can do more crit damage with that, whether it's a Fire Mage, even just yourself with critting spells, it's nice, or Lava Burst damage.
Yeah.
So that one's good. Ancestral Gift, you become immune to silence and interrupts for 5 seconds when you press your Spirit Walkers. I said before you could tie that into the Graceful Spirit talent, because it turns it into a 1-minute Spirit Walker, so 1-minute Aura Mastery essentially. That one you pretty much play every single time as well. Just being able to have an Aura Mastery is very powerful in WoW as a healer especially. Voodoo Mastery you can play as well, just because you kind of turn into a mage, and everyone knows that all these mages must feel so good when they're just spamming sheep on you and you can't do anything. So that's really nice to have a 0 cooldown on your Hex. You can kind of spam it out and get a lot of CC. And that's pretty much it. I think the only other option I think that I said that we wouldn't pass on is Swelling Waves. So Swelling Waves is a 50% extra heal from your healing surge after 3 seconds of casting it on yourself. The reason it's not used as much, of course, is because it's only on yourself, which is unfortunate. But I think if you're ever playing in 2s or something, you have this talent as an option as well, where if you get a cast on yourself, you're kind of just doing more healing. But once again, it's kind of one of those very rare picks when it comes to talents. For the most part, you're going to play Sky Fury, you're going to play Grounding, and then you're going to play Ancestral Gift. But every now and then you'll swap out like Sky Fury for a Recovery, or maybe the Tidebringer, or maybe the Swelling Waves, or even the 0 CD Hex, if you feel like being a mage for once.
Now, did you say scrap the Cleansing Waters, the one that provides dispels?
Yep. I think it's good to play that. So playing that into mages is pretty useful, but the issue right now is that you kind of have to be forced to sit in one spot, because you're obviously you have to drop Healing Rain for it. So you sit in one spot with your Healing Rain down, and it's kind of hard to do that now because mages are always kiting and running away and kind of dragging people away from you.
Yeah.
So it's hard to put down Healing Rain, and then let's say the mage runs across the map 40 yards, then you're kind of just stuck in your Healing Rain, and instead of being able to push out. It also costs a lot of mana, and I think mana is too important right now to give up for, trying to spam the Healing Rain and stuff. So
definitely,
it's another cool talent that, was a lot of fun to use, because you could cheese people really hard, which was nice. You could drop Healing Rain on yourself and just automatically dispel everything, which was really funny. Like a Shadow Priest, for example. But it's just one of those things that you don't really get to use as much.
I learned that you actually do take the damage if you use it against an Affliction lock.
Oh yeah, it's really bad.
And I was like, okay, never doing that again.
Do that. In BFA maybe, because you didn't do as much, but right now you can't. Oh my God, you would die so fast. That would be so scary.
Well, I was like, there's a lot of these like instant dispels where it's like somebody else is dispelling them, kind of like the stratagem for hunters. Like if you did if you feign death, you could get rid of all your dots and you wouldn't take the damage and silence kickback from that. So I thought it might work the same way, but nope, doesn't.
It does not. You die very fast.
Yeah.
You take a lot of damage,
So okay, cool.
Right. Just two things. When you're talking there, doesn't sound like there's like all right, so if you're up against this comp, if you're up against like a Malik Cleave, this should be your set. If you're up against a setup comp like RMP, use this set. If you're up against a Caster Cleave, this kind of set. It's more like maybe here's your core, and then if you're up against that team again, if you ran into problems last time, maybe adjust this one or this one for survivability, stuff like that.
That's pretty much how it is. There's the overall best setup, which is just Grounding, Ancestral Gift, and Sky Fury. And then, of course, if you're struggling with healing yourself, you can play Swelling Waves and drop Sky Fury. If you're struggling with kiting, you can play Stroke to Recovery, stuff like that. So you kind of drop like normally it's Sky Fury that gets dropped for one of the others, but that's pretty much what it is. You just have an overall, okay, these are my best talents, and then if there's a specific team, like you said, that let's say I have a team that's deciding to just run at me more, and I want to be able to run across the map more, get more healing from Ghost Wolf, then I would drop Sky Fury for Spectral Recovery, but that's about it. As far as your talents goes, unfortunately, there's not really much room for creativity. So
yeah, that's what I'm hearing. You mentioned mana there. How is the mana? Because for if I remember correctly, for BFA, there wasn't like a lot of hard casting either. Like and Ghost Wolf just kind of did its own thing. Like, is there a mana issue now that you're casting a lot more? Is that?
I think right now, because you're still doing a lot of instant casts, even though you're actually pressing buttons still, Shaman mana is pretty good. Okay. I think it's top 2 healer. I think like between Holy Priest and then Shaman mana, it's good. Shaman mana is weird though, so you do really good. You have really strong mana when you're fighting teams that don't have a Mortal Strike, or you're fighting teams that aren't melee cleaves. But the moment you have to spam cast, your mana just goes down the drain. But overall, I would say you're pretty strong mana wise.
Okay, I'd say I think that's similar to some of the other healers as well. Like as soon as you start to do like a lot of spam casting, you're just gonna that battery just drains.
Yeah,
it's like Dispriest. Like Dispriest is known for having mana issues, but if you ever can just play with only atonement healing and just penanceing and doing damage, your mana's fine. Mm-hmm. It's the moment you start spamming Radiance, it just disappears like a magic trick.
Literally.
All right. The question everybody asks: What covenant? What covenant rules them all?
Covenants. Necrolord, unfortunately, is the only good one.
Really?
I wouldn't say it's the only good one, but it's the best one.
Yeah.
I think the second best one, I think Venthyr is good. I wanted to play Venthyr really badly because Chain Harvest looks super fun to play. But you just have to play Necrolord. You get an extra Riptide. You get with Primordial Wave, so it does an instant heal and it does the Riptide healing. Mm-hmm. So it's essentially an extra Riptide, which you get, and then you have the healing wave bonus after. You get the shield, the passive shield as well when you play Plague Divisor. The Plague Divisor Soulbind, which just makes you tankier. And then at this point, Fleshcraft is just, I hate this ability, to be honest. I hate this ability. When I see people do it, and I'll like
cringe.
Kind of space out. Yeah, I'll space out. Definitely cringe a little bit, and then I'll space out and like I'll press like a Hodge or something into it, and it's just like, oh my god, why is this? I just completely forget, and it's like, all right, well, I guess I'm the idiot here. This guy's channeling the spell, and I'm the one that just looks like a clown because I just CC'd into it anyways. And that one's really annoying, the immunity, but it's so good to play with. It's so good to have. No, it's another one that's just it all comes down to just being too good. So that one is one of them, because you don't. Yep. It's not that you immune 1 CC, you're immune to everything, and then the 4 seconds after, if you actually get to channel the whole thing. So,
yeah,
very nice.
I wouldn't blame you for still doing that though, because that just came into effect, right? Like it wasn't.
Oh yeah, it's hard. It's if I'm paying attention, I'm actively focusing on it. Then yeah, it doesn't happen. But there are definitely times, maybe I'm a couple bottles of soju deep or something, or maybe I'm just tired, and it's like, all right, well, I just ran in and feared this guy into Fleshcraft. It happens. So it's too good. If I didn't have to be Necrolord, if Necrolord wasn't as strong, I would probably play. If I could pick one for fun, I'd play Venthyr, because I think Chain Harvest is just really cool.
What about the Sea-Doo Soul Shape out of Root Beams, though?
Yeah, the Soul Shape is good for only Boomkin, which is unfortunate. So the Knife A one is cool too, because you can obviously against Boomkins it's good. That one was also really fun. I think they nerfed the damage though, but the channeled spell they had for that was really fun. but unfortunately, it's AOE, so
Yeah.
it's just not as good. But if you ever get someone in it, just them, it does a lot of damage. But it's a channeled spell as well, and then it's just not as cool as Chain Harvest, dude. To be honest, doesn't look as cool.
Chain Harvest is awesome.
Yeah, it's too good. It's too cool looking. I had so much fun with that in the beta, but I had to stick with the Necrolord, unfortunately.
Indeed.
That's what it is. It's unfortunate. Well, what about for conduits then for your soulbinds? Because
I think right now the best soulbind overall is definitely the Plague Divisor, because you get the shield, and then you get the so for Shaman you get the shield, or just for everything of course, but you get the shield that when you're reduced below 50% you get a 15% shield, which is nice, 15% of your max health, and it's also a 30-second cooldown. So for the most part you can have it anytime someone tries to swap to you, or do a stun go on you or something, which is nice, makes you a lot tankier. You get the Fleshcraft immunity as well, the ultimate form. So, when you channel Fleshcraft, you're immune to CC. That one is extremely nice, I think. So that automatically just makes Plague Divisor the best soulbind you can choose. And then on top of that, it's really nice because for Shaman specifically, they kind of all just stars align it, sort of, for, just having the best one, because you get 2 potency conduits.
Yeah.
And you can get both of your best potency conduits, which is really nice. So you can get the extra healing on your Earth Shield. So I think the max rank it's like 10% or something. So you can get a 30% increased healing to whoever has Earth Shield on them, which of course is insane. Yep. And then you have the Swirling Currents conduit, where every time you press Healing Stream, you get extra healing for your next 3 spells. So you get both of those. So a huge healing boost just from picking that Covenant alone, or that Soulbind alone.
Yeah.
So it's just I would say that one is overall the best. You just have too many things that you can't pass up on.
Fair enough.
Yeah. The stars align for sure.
Pardon me?
I was agreeing. The stars align.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's like convoking
Very
your
nice.
abilities. Yeah.
I think, but for Shaman, isn't it better to say like the dewdrops align, the totems align?
Sure.
You could say that, yeah. You could say the totems, or like the water drop. I don't even know, man. I'm too tired to think of a good.
The currents align.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
It's a flash flood or something.
Don't cross the streams.
There's something in the water.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's good actually.
Yeah.
I'm tired as well. Okay. What about for the endurance and the finesse then? What would you pick for those?
For endurance, I think the best one is definitely the Earth Ellie one. You get a huge amount of HP with that, so you get increased max health for however long you have the Ellie, which is 1 minute. Obviously, if you dismiss it, you lose it, I think. But you get I think it's like 25% or 20% max health increase for that duration. So,
That's the
this talent was really useful for. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So it's one of those things where, like, how do I put this? You ever have games where you queue in arena and you see somebody and you're like playing an alt and you queue into the game and you're like, oh, this guy's got 42,000 health. And you're like, all right, well, this is probably going to be really bad. How am I going to kill this guy? That's kind of what the Earth Ellie is.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So, like, this talent was really useful when for specific scenarios, I fought a Rogue Mage Priest team in the tournament, and the gates open, you press your Earth Ellie, and it's like, all right, if these guys open me, I have 57,000 health. There's probably no way they're going to kill me. Like, there's probably no way they're going to kill me through that, so it just makes you pretty tanky for a while. It also affects, obviously, your Fleshcraft, because your Fleshcraft is percentage health based, so if you ever do it with the buff up, it's even stronger of a shield. It affects your Oozling thing as well, your coding from the Soulbind that also is max HP percentage. Your Nature's Guardian is max HP percentage as well. So it just makes it overall really strong with a lot of those buttons.
Wow.
Is it stacked with Battlemaster? Just out of curiosity.
It'll give you whatever. So I think if you BM and then if you have it up with BM, yeah, I think you get more too.
Okay.
So yeah, whatever. I think BM is like 15,600 or something at max rank. I think you get an extra bit of health from that as well too. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So I would say that would be your best endurance, and then for finesse. Finesse is hard to say. I think there's 3 of them. So you have the increased movement speed from Ghost Wolf when you initially go into the form. I don't know how good that one is. I think that one might be kind of passed up on just because there's not really times where I can see needing that extra boost would be useful compared to the other ones where you have the Totemic Surge where you get a lower cooldown on your Earthbind, your Capstun, and your Tremor. Yeah, so all your utility totems are lower cooldown, which, I mean, we all love being able to press all our buttons faster, so that's really nice. You also have Crippling Hex, where the target does less damage for a few seconds after getting out of a hex. And I think that could have a good place. If your goal of the game is to just kind of slow down and CC people, I think that definitely helps. Obviously, just having people passively do less damage. Especially if you're playing the 0 CD hex talent, so you can be a little bit of creativity there with those two talents. But it's hard to decide what the best overall one is. I would say overall Totemic Surge is good, but I think Crippling Hex has its place where you can definitely use it to kind of shut down DPS with the hex talent as well.
Actually, I'm thinking. Maybe more so in like a larger group setting again, like the RPGs and that. If you're playing the 0 CD hex.
Yeah, RPGs too. If you want to shut down damage for sure, because you can also play that, and obviously no CD. You can just do it on everyone the whole time.
Yeah, and then everybody has the debuff on them, right? So.
Yep.
Smart. The Earthen Wall totem, it's based off of total health, right? So if you do your
Earth Alley.
Your Earth Golem, and then Earthen Wall, does it then have a higher HP so the Earthen Wall sticks around longer, or?
I think it can live longer, yeah, but it's hard to the Earth Ellie is hard to, or the Earth Ellie, or I can't even speak. The Earthen Wall totem, normally in arena doesn't it doesn't ever get its full. How do I explain this? You don't ever get the full value of the totem in terms of the health it has. So it normally either it'll either disappear, or obviously people will run out of it or something. So you don't normally get like the full absorbs 40k damage total from it. But it does stack. So I mean, you could do that. So if people are attacking you through it, and you have your entire team in it too, you could do that. Or if you want to play it in RBGs, for example, you can do that where you have like, you can press Battlemaster and Earth Elemental and then put an Earthen Totem in like the center of the map or something for your team. And then your Earthen Wall will have 60,000 health or something. Just ridiculous, yeah.
Okay, health.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. And last but not least, legendaries.
Yeah.
What
Legendaries, very simple, very simple. Earthen Harmony is probably your best one. You get a lot of Earth Shield healing from it, especially because they made the change. Initially, it was a 300% bonus if you took damage below 50%, which is just ridiculous. So they changed that. So now it's 150% increase on Earth Shield if they have less than 75% health. So it's you get more. You just have the extra healing more often than you would with the 50%. So it was actually nice that they changed that, even though obviously having your Earth Shield heal someone for like 9,000 or something would have been sick. But it does a lot of healing right now. And then I would say that is overall your best one. There's really no other one that kind of comes close to that. The only scenario is Sefu's, I think, is a very like specific legendary to use, and I think that you would only use this in very specific matchups like Rogue Mage Priest, I think, is a comp that you would use it. So Rogue Mage Priest, you're only dying in the setup. There's never really a time where they're not going to kill you with upfront damage. You know, they're not like a TSG or a Ret DK or any type of melee cleave that can kind of run in and do a lot of consistent damage, a lot of burst. So you're only going to die during the Shadow Dance every now and then when they have their setups, or like let's say you get sheeped or something. So I think Sefu's against that is very strong, just because obviously getting a 10% reduction to CC is amazing. And then it also stacks with Orc. So if you're Orc on top of that, you get 30% less stun reduction or stun duration. So Sefu's specifically, I would play against Rogue Mage Priest, and then I'd play Earth and Harmony against everything else because the Earth Shield healing is too good to pass up.
Makes sense.
Nice.
We've heard the similar thing about the Sefu's. It's like it's a very easy go-to utilitarian, especially against those setup comps like that. So
yeah, just being able to get out of CC 10% faster is amazing. And then of course, like I said, if you ever get attacked as well, so let's say you get stunned, then their stun is 30% lower instead of 20% because you're Orc. So very strong.
Makes sense. Andallyn, do you have anything?
No, unless we want to just move on to stat priority.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, sir. So let's talk about stat priority. Break that down for us a little bit. Obviously, everyone's going main stat and versatility, but in terms of secondary stats, what are you looking for as Resto Shaman PvP?
I would say, because you do use a lot of globals and stuff on Sham, I would say, and just in general for most classes, especially now with the fact that you don't have pieces that just have every stat no matter what. So you don't have, it's not like BFA where you had like your cloak and your neck that just had all your off stats aside from verse. So it's really hard to just stack crit and verse and then you have 0% haste. So it feels like you're lagging essentially because your globals are so slow with 0% haste. Personally, I'm not a fan of that. I don't like having really slow globals because it just makes the gameplay feel slower. I also think in general it's nice to be able to press things faster. So let's say a mage is casting sheep on you. If you get a global off, you still have a chance to ground the sheep cast because of the fact that you have a decent amount of haste. So what I would do and what I have been doing is, I think obviously main stat's really important based off, if you have higher eye level pieces and stuff. So you have main stat. I think stacking verse is really strong. You always want to stack verse on all your pieces. And then what I do is I try to go for crit and haste. I don't really stack mastery much anymore because of the fact that they added the stat DRs this expansion. So I think, what is it, 25%? You get, at 25% of the stat, you get a lot less. So it's really hard to stack mastery on Shaman, even though mastery has been really, really good for you the last, 4 expansions or so.
Yeah.
You just can't get enough of it, unfortunately. Even in full gear, if you stack mastery, you get to like 55% or something, 60%, but you're sacrificing your crit and your haste so much that I don't think it's worth it. So I would say you go for as much verse as possible, and then you do kind of an even split between crit and haste. So what your stats would end up looking like is probably like 12% crit, you have 9 or 10% haste, and then you have as much verse as possible. And I think that's probably the best thing to do.
And you avoid mastery like the plague?
Yeah, I just don't even stack it anymore. So you have a baseline amount of mastery already on Shaman, so
yeah.
I just don't think it's worth trying to stack it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I've heard about the 30%. It's around 30% before it becomes a non-linear return.
Yeah, you just don't get as much, so it DRs, and it makes it hard to stack the mastery because you're missing out on the other, important stats.
Exactly.
Yeah,
all right.
For sure. That makes sense.
Have you done any theory crafting? We're expecting a certain soft cap for your crit or your haste? Or...
No, not at this point. I kind of just realized that I like playing the game with about 7 to 10% haste. As far as crit goes, I would love to get, as much more crit as possible, but that's probably the thing for me.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Cool.
All right.
So let's talk about... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you do.
Okay. Let's talk about strategies and compositions. So, compositions in threes. What kind of threes comps do you like to play on your shaman? And what do you see as being some of the best comps to step into, or maybe some of the best comps if someone's looking to get started playing their Resto Shaman?
So if you're playing a shaman right now, it's kind of similar with every healer in every class right now. Every class has their best comps, and I think for shaman you have the best things you can play overall are probably the cleave comps. So I think TSG is really good. So arms warrior, frost DK, shaman is good. I think playing Ret Paladin, Arms Warrior is very strong as well. I think Ret Warrior might be overall your best comp. Yeah. That one you can have a lot of success playing. Windwalker DK is another one. You can play Windwalker, Monk, Frost DK as well. With Shaman, specifically Frost DK. I think Unholy is okay with the new buffs, but Frost DK is pretty strong right now. So I would say if you do play with a DK, whether it's with a Monk or with a Warrior, you want to be Frost with that. I would say those are 3 comps that you could play, just cleave comps in general. And then as far as another comp would go, I would say probably Warrior Shadow Priest. The thing with Shaman right now is you need support from the other classes, so it's really hard to play comps that you don't have a lot of support from, whether it's off healing or whether it's just being tanky or having utility spells with certain classes. So like Warrior has Intervene, for example, which helps kind of survive damage on your teammates. I think you kind of need to just play with those classes. Windwalker DK is weird just because you synergize well. Obviously it's not the same as having like a Warrior with Intervene and how tanky Warriors are, but you do a lot of damage and you're able to play really aggressive as that comp. So that's fun to play. But I think overall you need a Ret Paladin or like a Warrior to kind of help you out. So those would probably be your comps. You can play Warrior Shadow Priest, you can play Warrior DK, you can play Windwalker DK or Ret Warrior. Overall, I would say Ret Warrior would probably be the best one just because you have a lot of bursts and a lot of cooldowns to rotate through.
Yeah.
And personally right now, I would say that's my favorite thing out of all of them to play.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
How are you winning then? Like, are you helping set up the kill scenario by starting the chain with a hex or something like that? Or
you basically try to... Shaman's kind of always been the same way, where you can be aggressive with purging and damage and CC and stuff, but a lot of the times you're helping your DPS as much as possible. So you're grounding CC for them, you're purging buffs for them, you're slowing people for them. You can get setups as well. Like you can try to, get hexes off of Hodge or hexes off of Fear or something and kind of add into the aggressive strategy of the game with CC, but a lot of the time it comes down to helping your DPS. You have Tremors, so if they're ever CC'd in Fears, you can get their Fears. You can ground CC, you can slow people, purge, you can interrupt CC for them as well. And that's what it comes down to a lot of the time in most of the Shaman comps. I would say more so for the cleaves too, though. It's very, very nice to add on extra damage. So that definitely is a factor as well, being aggressive, especially when you're playing something like Ret Warrior or one of those cleave comps in general, where you're already doing so much damage that being able to add in a lava burst or two can go a long way in creating pressure.
Yep.
Makes sense. Is the adage "train the blue and you win"? Does that still stand up? Is that how I kill you?
In some situations, yeah, but not sometimes. It depends. I think it's a lot harder to do that now, because it's all about cooldowns at the moment. So it's hard to kind of just run people down with just sustained damage and pressure. But I think in some scenarios, the train the blue phrase is still somewhat true to this day, but I wouldn't say as much as it has in expansions kind of before Legion. Especially because shamans don't do that much healing, so you can just kill their teammates.
Yeah.
Just take them out.
All right. I think, Andallyn, I think we're talking just when we were talking about previous healers. That was kind of the thing, right? You CC the healer and kill somebody through the burst, right? Just
with HPAL, it was very much train the HPAL because HPALs die though. But with Resto Druids, it was very much just kill their teammates, right? So I think this was much more on that Resto Druid side, where just kill their teammates.
Yeah, there's times where you can run down Shaman, but I would say for the most part, it's killing teammates.
Yeah, it was the same with Mistweaver Monk. Was just
Kill
train
the
something
Mistweaver,
and they'll die. So
Yeah.
all right.
Either one works for Mistweaver, yeah.
Yeah, Mistweaver, you can
Just do some
DC
damage.
half the game as well. I don't know. There's a few options.
Yeah.
You can take food breaks mid game if you're feeling stressed out.
Get some
It's all
Chipotle.
good.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right. Andallyn, you want to do the last question? I know
Sure.
you're like,
So let's see. The one thing you would change. You get one thing.
One
You know-
thing.
It's only one. It can be whatever you want it to be, but it's only one thing, and it can be as ridiculous. It could be as like, oh my gosh, the whole world agrees with you, or it could be like you're the only person on planet Earth that would change that. But so be it. It's the one thing you would change.
I would say there's a huge list. So this is really difficult.
that's the only-
But I would say I would love to have. This is hard. I would say I would love to just have Ancestral Awakening back. It was kind of between that or Nature's Swiftness, but Ancestral Awakening was a really, really cool passive that you had. So you basically, they took it away after Mop, and you basically had every time you crit your spells, your healing spells, you had an additional 30% of whatever amount you healed onto the lowest party member. So let's say you had a huge healing surge or something back then. So like you had to unleash a healing surge with Earth Shield on somebody. You would heal, and if it crit, you would heal for obviously 30% more, but you would just pretty much top your team immediately by setting that up. And that's something I kind of miss from Shaman. I miss being able to have that insane burst healing. And I think that's probably what I would add. So just Ancestral Awakening, very powerful passive talent that, just makes critting heals feel even better.
Nice. Gerissar, do you know?
I didn't really know. I always found Shaman to be, they had so many little tools. They kind of had everything. I found them to be
Huge
a very
toolkit.
good class. I'm just gonna be silly then. So for the incap totem, right? The whole idea behind it is it does like the build up. It does a static discharge and things. People put it in place there. I would love for the ripple. So there's like they have it like two zonal. So there's the first zone where if you're caught inside that, you're incapacitated. That's the stun. But then, it's a static discharge, right? It just keeps rippling out. So it'll go up, let's say for 40 yards, and anybody caught inside that gets a zappy zap little stuff, nothing huge, but just a little tickle, right?
Nice.
So
That would be interesting if it had like an extra 20 yard. Like if you're in the center, you get stunned for 5 seconds, and if you're too far, then you get stunned for 2. That would definitely be interesting.
Sure.
Probably give it more value. So right now it's weird. Capstone is very weird.
You just step out of it and you're fine.
You
right?
step away the 5 yards and then people just kill it. It's kind of it kind of sucks. Having a capstone sometimes is very anticlimactic. You're like, oh my god, I'm gonna cap off that, and it's like a 1.5 second stun. It's like, all right, well, I tried.
Yeah.
How about you though, Andallyn? What would you do?
I don't know. I was brewing around a few different ideas, but I think I'd like to do something with Earth Shield. I think it'd be cool if you could have somehow like the Earth Shield, kind of like take Cloudburst and bake it into Earthshield. Almost like if you heal into your Earthshield, it stores up and it like hardens the shield to where it starts releasing more and more healing the stronger your Earth Shield. So you could just like build the fattest Earth Shield on somebody, and then they would have to burn through that. And then it's like, okay, well, now that Earth Shield has fallen, I can reapply it, and now I have to build a big fat Earth Shield up on somebody again. I think that would be really cool if you kind of like built in Cloudburst Totem into Earth Shield.
Yeah,
that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I would change.
Cool. All right. Well, I think let's talk about some of the PvP news, and then we'll roll out of this and let Carlos get back to his streaming.
I think I'm too tired for that. So I'm down for the news.
All right.
I've had my day. I have had my nice 6-hour day.
Sounds good. All right, so our MDI Cup 3 just finished up on the 28th of February. Congrats to Echo for their dominating victory over Perplexed. We did have some hot fixes coming up. Gerissar, was there something that you wanted to highlight from there? I didn't look at these yet, so I wasn't sure if there was anything PvP related.
Honestly, there really wasn't anything that was
okay. Yeah, I can see
solidly PvP. It was all
a lot of raid stuff.
Yeah,
and dungeons.
There was a fix on the PvP for how the Ring of Frost was appearing, like the mysterious hidden Ring of Frost.
Yep, they fixed that a couple weeks ago or something. Thankfully.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
I'm just waiting for that MC bug to be fixed.
Yeah, that one's taking a while.
Yeah.
That one's taking a while.
Must be a doozy if it's taking this long.
Yeah.
And then there was a couple of players that got banned.
You hate to see it, man.
Yeah.
But hey.
It raised an interesting point, though. We've talked about it before on here, talking about prize pools and what people have to do to try to make a living being a professional WoW esport player. Mm-hmm. And it raised an interest. So, anybody doesn't know, ZPie was caught for doing real money trading for coaching, and so that knocked him out for 6 months. Sorry. Yeah, he's been disqualified from competing for 6 months.
For a year, yeah.
No, that was only for 6 months. But that's essentially this whole AWC 2021 season. So that's
weird because their rule book says that if you have any kind of blemish on your account, you're ineligible to compete for like one calendar year.
I think that's your account though, because I don't think he got banned in game.
Okay, gotcha.
I think he got banned like from competing specifically. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
So I think he might be able to. I'm pretty sure he might be able to play like, let's say in
the
September or whenever. Yeah.
Oh,
in September, like if there's still tournaments, then I think he has the chance to be on a team or something. But yeah, it's a long time. I mean, if you're missing out on 90% of the tournaments, it's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says it goes to October the 26th, 2020. Yeah. Oh, whoa. Sorry. No, I am wrong. It is October 26th, 2022. Yeah. So you got a year and a half ban. My apologies. I thought that was 2021. So yeah, no, he's.
Oh yeah, he's gone forever then. Yeah, he's.
Yeah.
That's a long time. That's a long time.
That's so unfortunate too. He's such a big brain player.
He's really good.
They have rules for a reason. It's unfortunate how they're actually.
He just can't play tournaments.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still playing game, but
that's where you watch typically. But...
Pardon me?
That's where it's showcased, though.
Yeah, no, definitely. Anyway, so Skullcap EU had to fill in his spot, which they're currently sitting tied for first place in the standings. So it'll be interesting to see how they perform Cup from before, and where that puts them for the for the circuit and how they perform into the circuit with the replacement players.
Yep.
The other one, so one of the thing, there's an interesting twit longer by ZPie on that, and then followed up by that by Looney, who had also been previously banned due to coaching, and just the commentary that happened on that. You go check out the Twitters if you want to read about it. But again, it did raise an interesting conversation about how Blizzard looks at real money trading for World of Warcraft versus their own other games that they allow for real money trading and such. And somebody was even talking about Hearthstone, where essentially a rank 1 player, if you would, or like a legendary player in Hearthstone, is sitting there watching the person play and telling them what to play next out of their own hand. Yeah. So they must be playing themselves
in exchange for real money.
Yeah, and that's okay. But yeah, and then Jamili said something, we're not sure, but he is indefinitely banned with the option to appeal after February 2022 due to behavior. So that required the Charlotte Phoenix team to find a replacement for him, and they were sitting currently 4th for the NA standings. So it'll be interesting to see.
That's not surprising, but it's also, I kind of feel like there's a certain amount of it feels really crappy as someone from the outside looking in to just be like, yeah, we banned him and we're not going to tell you why. Like,
yeah, no, they've done that before though.
I know, that's why I'm saying it feels really crappy. I think there's an argument, a good argument to be made about, like, okay, it's not within our place, or it's not really, there's a good argument to be made about why it shouldn't be said, but at the same time, I feel like if this is a transparent league, there's got to be a certain amount of honesty there to be like, you know, we need to know a little bit more than that. Because especially when this idea of like bans doesn't seem to be leveled equally against offenders, if you will.
I think there's a little bit of arbitrary based on how what rule set they decide to or what rule they
invoke.
Decide to
Yeah,
but it seems like the actual how it affects the person, be it 6 months, 1 year, whatever. I think that's looking very consistent, especially, you know, the only inconsistency was my reading the rules and what the outcome was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can go through and give you some past instances where there have been, like, oftentimes this is a dead giveaway where you have two individuals who have a bickering, and then, you know, all we know is just like somebody's banned for like 6 months and somebody's banned indefinitely, or, you know, or somebody has is banned indefinitely for this, but only for a certain amount of time for someone else who did the same thing. So it's like,
yeah,
what's going? It doesn't look good, especially in the times that we're living in, I think, and especially in light of recent Blizzard controversies. I just think it would help them more than it would hurt them. That's all.
What do you think? What do you think, Carlos?
I think being transparent is fine. Just having people know what happened.
Yeah.
Compared to just, this guy's banned for behavior. It's like, okay. Okay. He yell at someone, like,
yeah.
Could be more transparent.
Yeah, true. I guess there is a certain thing there if there's like any other investigation or something like that. There's some nuances you have to be careful, I guess, but okay.
Sure. But if there's an investigation going on, then like they don't need that's a temporary, like we're not sure yet, right? Like you don't really know if you're going to indefinitely ban someone until you've actually gotten, like, you're far enough along in your investigation to realize, like, okay, this is justified or like an indefinite ban, you know?
Yeah.
You don't indefinitely ban someone on an allegations that you're investigating.
Fair enough. Very true. Yeah.
So
maybe a 3-week ban or something like that, and then yeah.
So
all right.
That's just my thoughts. I mean, like
fair.
I said, there's a valid argument to be made on the other side as well, and I'm not expecting anything to change. I'm just voicing my opinion.
Oh, fair. I think there's a valid argument for Blizzard to remove the whole real money transfer stuff. I think that was really only implemented to counter the gold sellers that we had back in Classic. And I don't think that's needed anymore, especially with how tokens work and everything. If anything, it just looks even cheesier how Blizzard technically sells tokens, skims $5 for and then so I can spend $20 a token, get a bunch of gold, and buy a coach up to a certain rating, but I can't just hand over somebody $20 to get me that coach in.
Yeah, Blizzard tax on your carry.
Yeah, basically. That's okay because anyway, I really hope they revisit that, and hopefully I look forward to seeing what Skill-Capped EU and Charlotte Phoenix can pull away with these new players, and hopefully they put it. I'm assuming they're putting in a bunch of practice to be ready for that. Have you practiced any shoutouts there though, Absterge?
Any shout-outs?
Yeah.
I have not. I have not done that yet. I'm always on the spot with those. I don't know. I would just shout out,
too.
my Twitter, twitter.com/Sergi. I would shout out my teammates, the whole Move community in general, and my girlfriend. That's about it.
Nice.
The whole squad.
Those are some pretty good shoutouts.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. It's about half the WoW community, but that's
Yeah, just everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Andallyn, how about yourself?
No, just I mean, I always like to shout out to my boys that I play with, Peter and Mikey. So I don't know if they listen, or they made it this far, but shout out to them.
All right.
But yeah.
Well, I'm gonna give a shout out to the chat room. Everybody who stuck around this long in the chat room, and everybody that followed Carlos over from his stream. Appreciate you guys. And just a shout out to our listeners at home, and a reminder that hey, there is a merchandise store up at Warcraft Radio now. So if you want to check out what they have there, they have some pretty cool stickers, some die-cut Murlocs and whatnot, and some shirts and whatnot. Go and check that out, and keep an eye out over there. We may have some stuff that's the store may be bigger.
Yeah. It'll only cost you 850 honor points.
Nice.
So, it's not a bad deal.
If only we could sell it for honor points. That'd be
If
awesome.
only. Yeah, right.
You need to have at least 1450 CR to talk in chat, though.
Yep, the classic.
Yeah. You got to be high rated, at least 1450.
Sturgy, why don't you pimp out the rest of your stuff? Where can our listeners find you on these wonderful interwebs?
Well, you can find me at my Twitter. So my Twitter is twitter.com/Sergi, or you can just go to my stream. I do stream every day, starting around 1 p.m. PST at twitch.tv/thesturge. And that's it.
Awesome. Andallyn, can you list off where our listeners can reach us?
Sure. You can contact us directly with a tweet to @technically_PvP, or by an email to technicallypvp@gmail.com. You can also join our discussions on the Warcraft Radio Discord.
Indeed. And links for all that is going to be in the show notes, along with where you can find the Warcraft Radio website and their podcast directory, where you'll find us and many other great, wonderful shows about Blizzard Blizzard games. And hey, go check it out. They have a wonderful review system over there. So if you go over there, you can drop us a 1-star review or a 5-star review or anything in between, and let us know what you think about our show, as well as all the other great ones over there. I want to thank everybody for listening.
Yeah.
And hey, have a great night, everybody. Take care.
We'll see you on St. Patrick's Day around then.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Holy moly.
Ooh, okay. Sounds good. Have a great night. Take care.
Take care, everybody.